go find your happiness, and saying, please figure it out with us here.
It wasn't an ordinary court hearing. No, this was an eruption that had been simmering for over a decade beneath the carefully staged smiles and scripted family dinners of sister wives. The glossy facade that TLC had sold to millions, the image of one big, chaotic but loving polygamous family, was about to be ripped apart line by line, dollar by dollar, and in front of a nation that thought they already knew everything about Kody and Robyn Brown. By dawn, the courthouse was already a spectacle. Reporters gathered in clusters, cameras locked in position, their lenses aimed at the heavy wooden doors as though history itself would step through them. The marble walls carried whispers like thunderclouds waiting to burst. Every pew inside was jam-packed, not just with legal teams and journalists, but with curious locals who wanted to witness the downfall of reality television's most infamous family. They weren't here for entertainment. They were here for truth. And then, just before 9 a.m., it began. A black SUV crept to a halt at the curb, its tinted windows reflecting the frenzy of flashbulbs. The back door opened, slow and deliberate. Out stepped Kody Brown. But this wasn't the Kody audiences had grown accustomed to. The cowboy boots, the loose shirts, the half-smirk of a man who always believed he was in control. No, this Kody was different. He was dressed in a tailored gray suit, his shoulders stiff, his jaw locked, his eyes fixed straight ahead. He didn't wave, he didn't smile. He looked like a man marching toward judgment. Seconds later, Robyn emerged. Her presence drew audible gasps. Dressed in a fitted navy blue suit, hair pulled tightly back, her expression was unreadable, cold, controlled, armored. Gone was the emotional, tearful Robyn viewers had seen sobbing in confessionals about plural marriage and family struggles. In her place stood someone else entirely, a woman exuding quiet defiance. And between her and Kody, nothing. No shared touch, no reassuring glance, only a wall of ice. The questions rained down instantly. Kody, did you hide money from the other wives? Robyn, are you facing fraud charges? Will your kids have to testify? Neither of them answered. They walked on, shields of silence, but their silence spoke volumes. For years, fans had speculated about secrets, about favoritism, about hidden money trails. Now, standing at the courthouse steps, those rumors had the weight of subpoenas and sworn affidavits behind them. Inside, the tension was suffocating. The Brown family had always presented themselves as one unit. Flawed, yes, but bound together by faith and loyalty. Yet on this day, the unity was shattered. Christine had already blown the whistle with cryptic posts about betrayal. Janelle's quiet but firm words hinted at deep cracks. Even Mary, often silent, had begun to speak in ways that suggested hidden truths. But nothing could have prepared the world for what the filings revealed. According to court documents, Kody and Robyn were accused of funneling between $1 and $2 million into secret trusts, shell companies, and private accounts between 2016 and 2022. Money meant for the entire family, groceries, school fees, household expenses, had allegedly been siphoned off for luxury purchases, property deeds, and private tuition. The betrayal was not only personal, it was financial, spiritual, and absolute. Christine and Janelle's attorneys pushed for a forensic audit of every joint account the Browns had ever touched. What they claimed was staggering. Decades of manipulation, signatures forged on documents, credit cards maxed out in the names of wives who had no idea the accounts even existed. The prosecution's first strike came in the form of a single sheet of paper, a financial record showing a $200,000 transfer from the Brown family's account into one, labeled Robyn Home Purchase. Gasps rippled through the courtroom like a physical wave. That was only the beginning. More evidence followed. Affidavits from accountants, sound files of hushed conversations, a trail of documents that painted a picture too detailed to dismiss. Robyn had allegedly used family credit cards to rack up thousands in charges on Christine and Janelle's names, while simultaneously convincing them they were broke. A forensic handwriting expert even testified that one signature, supposedly Christine's, authorizing Robyn to move funds was a forgery. The judge listened in silence, eyebrows occasionally arched in disbelief. At one point, he leaned forward and said firmly, "If even half of this is accurate, we are not talking about miscommunication. This is potential civil fraud." His words echoed like a verdict long before one was delivered. But the most damning blow of all wasn't on paper, it was on video. The prosecution played an unreleased clip from Sister Wives, a segment never aired on television. In it, Kody, staring directly into the camera, declared, "I didn't think I needed their permission to protect what matters. Robyn and I are doing what's best for this family." Then the frame cut to Janelle, shaking her head with quiet devastation. Her words were simple but shattering. He stopped caring about this family the moment it stopped being about Robyn. The courtroom fell into silence so thick it felt suffocating. It wasn't just evidence anymore, it was intent. Intent to alienate, to control, to exclude. And in that moment, everyone understood. This was no longer a family dispute. It was the unraveling of an empire. By the time the judge adjourned for recess, social media had already exploded. Hashtags like #OurExposed, Our Sister Wives Fraud, and Our Robyn in Court trended across TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Fans demanded answers. Would Robyn face prison? Would Kody be forced to pay millions back? Would TLC finally pull the plug on the show that had once sold unity but was now synonymous with betrayal? One thing was certain, this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of a reckoning. And as Robyn sat stone-faced at the defense table, the very empire she had built around herself trembled on the edge of collapse. By mid-morning, the courtroom felt less like a legal chamber and more like the stage of a national reckoning. Every word spoken, every document unsealed, seemed to widen the crack already running through the Brown family's empire. But nothing prepared the audience for what came next, the accountant's testimony. She walked the court through the numbers with icy precision. July 2019, Christine's daughter needed surgery, and the family was allegedly told there wasn't enough money to cover the cost. Yet that very same month, $48,000 was spent on lavish renovations at Robyn's house. Marble counters, custom furniture, a backyard project that looked more like a resort than a family home. Gasps filled the gallery. The contrast was brutal. While one child's medical needs hung in limbo, luxury upgrades flowed into Robyn's living room. November 2020 painted another grim picture. Mary, desperate to fund a new business project, asked about accessing profits from a family venture. She was told the account was shut down, empty, gone. But the accountant revealed receipts showing that just weeks earlier, $75,000 had quietly been deposited from that very account into Life with Robyn, Inc. The betrayal was not just financial. It was personal, humiliating, and carefully hidden. By early 2021, the story grew even darker. Kody reportedly pushed Janelle to sell her RV, insisting the family needed the money. Yet in the same breath, Kody and Robyn spent $60,000 upgrading their Flagstaff property, complete with an outdoor fireplace and a bubbling hot tub. The message was clear: sacrifice for some, luxury for others. The accountant's conclusion cut through the room like a blade. This wasn't poor budgeting. It was deliberate, organized, calculated, a system designed to benefit one couple while the rest suffered. But the most gut-wrenching testimony didn't come from the numbers. It came from the children. Written statements from the adult kids were read aloud, each word more devastating than the last. One child confessed, "I worked 2 jobs because I believed we couldn't afford college. I thought we were all broke. But now I know. It was just us who couldn't." Another voice, allegedly one of Robyn's older children, admitted, "I was told not to question things, that it was all being handled. But now I see I was shielded from the truth." The betrayal had bled into the very next generation. Some children were left believing their family couldn't help them with school, while others lived in renovated homes, enjoying private tuition and comforts bought with the same shared money. It wasn't just a rift between wives anymore. It was a wound that stretched across the entire family tree. Outside the courthouse, the revelations detonated across social media. TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube lit up like wildfire. Fans and critics dissected every detail, every clip, every past confession. One viral Reddit post titled "Robyn Brown, the Mastermind" surged past 40,000 upvotes in a single day. Viewers rewatched old episodes with forensic intensity, pausing to analyze Robyn's background glances and hushed tones as if the signs had been hiding in plain sight all along. Comments poured in. "She cried on TV while hoarding everyone else's money, and Kody didn't just allow this, he wanted this." Although criminal charges had not yet been filed, the legal implications were enormous. Lawyers argued that if the evidence held, Kody and Robyn could be forced to repay hundreds of thousands, even sell their Flagstaff home. Christine and Janelle's attorneys demanded an injunction to freeze any future transfers. One attorney's words summed it up bluntly: "If it walks like financial coercion and quacks like financial coercion, then it may very well be fraud." When the session finally adjourned for the day, Robyn shielded herself with oversized sunglasses, her face tight, her stride hurried. Kody followed a step behind, his expression unreadable but his body tense, fists clenched at his sides. Neither answered questions. Neither looked back. But the public wasn't done, and neither was the courtroom. The second half of the day turned the spotlight onto Kody himself. For years, he had been the architect of the family's image, the stern yet charismatic patriarch who claimed to carry the weight of 4 wives and 18 children on his shoulders. But now, stripped of the TLC cameras and scripted interviews, he looked less like a leader and more like a man unraveling under the weight of his own contradictions. The judge's gavel cracked sharply against the wood. "Mr. Brown," the judge announced, "you may now respond to the charges." Kody rose slowly, tugging at his tie, his face flushed with tension. His voice started low, measured, almost rehearsed. "Your Honor, with all due respect, this isn't fraud. This is bitterness, hurt feelings, revenge." The room erupted in shocked murmurs, reporters scribbling furiously. The judge demanded silence, but the damage was done. Kody's words had struck like a match to gasoline. His voice grew louder, angrier, until it ricocheted off the marble walls. "I sacrificed my peace, my privacy, even my sanity for this family. I built a life with 4 women and all these kids under constant public judgment. And now I'm being dragged through the mud for trying to protect what little we had left." It was no longer testimony. It was an outburst. Cameras outside caught muffled yells echoing from inside, and fans online compared it to a live meltdown. The judge slammed his gavel again. "Mr. Brown, compose yourself." But Kody couldn't stop. His eyes locked on Christine and Janelle sitting behind their lawyers. His voice dripped with fury. "You two know what this is really about. You walked away. You abandoned this family. And now you're trying to rewrite history, painting me as the villain for holding this together." Janelle dropped her gaze. Christine, however, stared straight ahead, her face carved in stone. For years, viewers had seen Kody attempt to control the narrative. But here, in this unedited courtroom, he was losing control in real time. His lawyer tried to guide him back, placing a firm hand on his shoulder, urging him to sit. Kody ignored it. He snapped again, his words biting. "Nobody talks about the pressure I was under, the lies printed about me, the effort it took to keep wives in line, to keep the money flowing, to keep food on the table. They didn't want plural marriage anymore. Fine. But don't stand there and accuse me of manipulation when I sacrificed everything. Robyn and I are being crucified for staying faithful." The courtroom had fallen into a stunned silence. The judge's gavel fell once more, demanding order. Kody's words lingered in the air like smoke after a fire, angry, desperate, and impossible to take back. His attorneys scrambled to soften the damage, arguing that this wasn't fraud but miscommunication, that in a plural marriage, financial decisions often lacked formal contracts, relying instead on verbal trust. They claimed it was family preservation, not deception. That every decision, every account, every LLC was an attempt to protect the Browns from collapse. But the cracks were showing. And for the first time, it wasn't just the wives accusing Kody. It was his own temper betraying him in front of the judge. As Kody finally sat down, flushed and trembling, it became painfully clear. This was no longer the patriarch in control of his story. This was a man exposed, unraveling, and about to face consequences he could no longer dodge. Consequences he could no longer dodge. The courtroom may have started calm, but by the third day, the energy had shifted completely. It was no longer just about financial ledgers and paperwork. It had become the unraveling of a man, a woman, and an empire built on illusions. Even the judge, who had remained steady through hours of testimony, leaned forward, eyes sharp as he addressed Kody directly. "So, Mr. Brown, let me understand you," the judge said slowly, each word deliberate. "Are you admitting that you and your legal wife made unilateral financial decisions, keeping the other plaintiffs in the dark?" For the first time, Kody's bluster wavered. His voice came softer, uncertain. "Your Honor, I did what I thought I had to do. The family was falling apart. People were walking away from obligations. I was clinging to what remained." But the hesitation in his tone told a different story. This wasn't the defiant patriarch audiences had watched for years. This was a man finally realizing that the empire he'd spent decades building was burning, and he might have been the one to strike the match. Christine was given a rare chance to speak, not as a witness under oath, but as a voice of clarification. She walked forward, calm, collected, her presence commanding without theatrics. "I'm not here to fight Kody. she said firmly, eyes steady. I'm here to tell the truth. Years ago, we all agreed. Every dollar earned would be shared equally. I trusted that system. But the moment I was told there wasn't enough money to cover my children's school fees, and I saw photos of Robyn's brand new backyard renovations, I knew something had shifted. If Kody had told us openly that things were different, I might have accepted it. But he didn't. He just took over silently and expected our silence in return. It wasn't long, dramatic speech. It didn't need to be. It was cold, sharp, and devastating. The words echoed louder than any of Kody's outbursts. Within hours, leaks from the courtroom went viral. Sketches of Kody's tantrum, transcripts of his yelling, even muffled recordings captured in the courthouse hallways. Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube ignited with fury. Hashtags like "She Kody loses it," "Justice for Christine," "She defending Robyn" trended globally. Memes exploded. Sir, this is a courtroom, not a therapy session. TikTokers spliced Kody's meltdown against clips from old Sister Wives episodes, showing the eerie parallels between his past controlling behavior on the show and his courtroom rage. One viral comment put it bluntly, he didn't just lose his family, he lost the plot. And then came the experts. Therapists, marriage counselors, even body language analysts weighed in across podcasts and TV panels. Their verdict was consistent. Kody's anger wasn't power, it was fear. When someone loses the system they dominated, one therapist explained, they lash out. This isn't about money alone, it's about power, control, and a legacy crumbling in real time. The judge had seen enough. Slamming the gavel down, he warned sternly, this court will not tolerate emotional manipulation or theatrics. We are here to establish facts, not rehearse the failures of a marriage. Kody slumped in his chair, pale, silent. Robyn did not reach for his hand. The gallery emptied slowly, journalists rushing to publish, the public buzzing with anticipation for what was still to come. Because everyone knew, the prosecution hadn't even played their final hand. By the third day, the courthouse was electric. Satellite trucks lined the street outside, fans camped on sidewalks, and even mainstream outlets like CNN, People Magazine, and Entertainment Tonight had joined the circus. And then came the moment everyone had waited for. Robyn Brown was subpoenaed to the stand. For years, she had been cast as the dutiful wife, or condemned as the one who broke the family apart. But today, she was neither background character nor favored spouse. Today, she was under oath. Robyn walked slowly to the witness chair, smoothing her blouse, her eyes darting nervously. Her voice was steady, but her composure fragile. At first, the questions were gentle. Mrs. Brown, did you know about Mr. Brown's financial dealings? Only what he told me, she answered. Did he instruct you to open joint accounts in your name only? Robyn hesitated, then admitted, yes, but he said it was to protect the money, not to hide it. The room buzzed with whispers. For months, fans had speculated that Kody and Robyn rerouted family funds into exclusive accounts. Now her own words confirmed it. When pressed on property deeds, $600,000 worth transferred solely into her name, Robyn faltered. I signed what Kody told me to sign, she said softly. Janelle's attorney rose, his voice like steel. This is not about money. This is about betrayal. Mrs. Brown knowingly or unknowingly signed away what belonged to others. Robyn's defense crumbled further when Christine's lawyers laid out documents, bank statements, forged signatures, deeds that tied her directly to the diversion of family assets. Her lawyer tried to frame her as a victim of coercion, but when asked directly if Kody pressured her, Robyn's voice cracked. He said it was for our future, that the others would be okay. Behind her, Kody's glare burned. His jaw locked, his eyes like daggers. And then came the cross-examination, turning the spotlight fully back on him. Under oath, Kody faced the storm head-on, though his confidence was unraveling by the second. Christine's attorney wasted no time. Did you have Robyn draft a will in 2022 that excluded your other children? Kody blinked. It was simplification, legal framework. But you left them out, didn't you? He hesitated. Yes, at my attorney's advice. The room gasped. Did you place properties solely in Robyn's name to shield them from divorce? Kody's words stumbled. I didn't think it would come to that. I just thought they were irritated. Each response was worse than the last. His defensive tone, his combative attitude, only made the evidence against him more damning. The judge cut through his excuses like a knife. Mr. Brown, do you know what happens to jointly owned property when transferred without consent? Kody swallowed hard. I realize now. I thought I was protecting the family. But no one was convinced. Not the wives, not the gallery, not the public. Then came the final blow. Robyn, trembling, asked to speak directly. Tears welled in her eyes as she whispered, "I never wanted this. I thought I was protecting us. Kody told me it was for our future. But I see now what it cost. I'm sorry." Christine's eyes glistened, but she held steady. Janelle wouldn't even look at her. Mary shook her head. To some, Robyn's words were crocodile tears. To others, it was the first crack in years of denial. Either way, it was too late. The judge's final statement was scathing. If assets were concealed or fraudulently transferred, this court will not hesitate to order restitution, freeze accounts, or initiate full investigation. His words rang like a death toll over the Brown dynasty. By evening, the internet was on fire. Hashtags "Archer Robyn lies," "Are Kody exposed," "Arch justice for Janelle" trended nationwide. Influencers unearthed old sister wives clips, replaying them in a new light, each one now evidence of favoritism, manipulation, and greed. One viral TikTok declared she wasn't playing checkers. She was playing chess, and now the board flipped. Even TLC scrambled behind the scenes. Ratings soared, but so did backlash. Executives debated cutting Kody and Robyn out entirely, with whispers of a spin-off focusing on Christine and Janelle's new journeys. Advertisers began to pull back, unwilling to be tied to a family now synonymous with financial abuse. Legal experts speculated criminal charges might soon follow: tax fraud, deceptive reporting, even potential IRS probes. Petitions circulated demanding audits. What began as a reality show about love had become a case study in betrayal, control, and collapse. And as the sun set on that day, paparazzi caught Robyn leaving the courthouse, eyes red and swollen, Kody at her side, face hollow. Their empire was crumbling. Their perfect image shattered. Christine posted a quiet Instagram video. "The truth is out. Silence only protects the wrong people. May this empower others to speak." Janelle streamed live to fans. "He bet our future for Robyn's comfort." Now the court sees it too. Even Mary, who had long held her tongue, tweeted cryptically, "Some people betray you, then act like you hurt them." The wives, once fractured, now stood united, not by faith, but by survival. And as for Kody and Robyn, their chapter wasn't over. But the cracks were wide open, and the world was watching. Because in the end, this wasn't just another scandal. This was Judgment Day for the Browns. And karma, as fans reminded everyone in viral comments, never forgets an address. Never forgets an address.